I have it
Yeah.
here. So I'm ready to start if you are.
Yeah. Do you need me to like share my screen or anything or?
If it comes up, we could do that. If there's anything like in the moment that's necessary.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think there's anything off the top of my head, but
Yeah.
just wondering if I need to have my game open. I'll go ahead and open it in case.
Yeah, there might be some questions here and there, but usually, sometimes people are just like grinding on another character at the same time, like or the big character or whatever, and it's
Yeah.
usually fine. It's just that sometimes something can come up in a moment that might not have a screenshot up, but that's why I prefer with the screenshots because then I usually could just scroll through things and find it myself rather than having to like direct you on your account to show me certain things. So
Yeah.
it's a bit more prep work, but then it's a bit easier in the moment itself. So. Or for my mom, I like to just see it because I just have to. It's faster than trying to run her through doing one of these. Okay, so you are at 280
Yeah.
as a Nightwalker, and see some general questions here. You could talk a little bit about your situation, and I'll read up a little bit here as well, and we can kind of see what the general direction for this is going to be. Until Lib. So you're working on Liberation?
Yeah, I am.
Mm-hmm. And how far in are we right now?
I just did the will quest, so I don't know how
Okay.
many more months. I did the will quest this month, so I don't know how many. Is that March or April?
So you still have to lock in the will run next month, right?
Yeah, yeah. I have to get the crux, and
Yeah.
then
So 3
yeah.
more clears. Yeah. So March could be clear. March
I think
1st, right?
so. I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, because you still have Lucid and then the will the Vila quests January or February, and then March locks in the Hila quest if you're doing the quest always a month ahead of time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it could be March 1st if you're. That's the earliest point you could be. Okay, that's relatively soon, right?
Yeah.
Pretty much 2 months and a week away. How was the process for that? Did you start kind of late and then figure out like, oh damn, I'm actually way stronger. I could have started way earlier, kind of thing, or?
So basically, this is a pretty old character that I've been playing since Reboot, since it first came out, and then
Mhm.
I've always been like a seasonal player. Like I'd have like little stints where I'd play for like several months at a time, and then I'd quit for like maybe a year or like 2 years. And then this summer Hyperburn around June, I came back to the game, and I've been playing. I've been playing since, and I think this is the longest period of time I've been playing.
Mhm.
And I wasn't aware of like a black mage was like Giga Endgame like when I remember playing, so I wasn't aware like how much power creep was in the game, like with
Mhm.
six job and all the other stuff. And then so I found out from just like a random guild I joined that like I can start libbing if I wanted. So I started the lib process a month after I came back.
Right. And what level were you when the sixth job was out? I guess.
I was not playing around the time when six job came out, but my character
Mhm.
was I was parked at like 233 for like a very long time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right. But you were like not way past 260, and then lost kind of like those levels of fragment gathering.
No, no,
Okay.
no.
Okay. Nice. Nice. So you've been going hard then. If you're already 280 now.
I guess so. I didn't realize. I thought I've been progging at like a pretty decent pace. Because I don't like do like full waps a day. Maybe like a mini wap here and there.
Mhm. Mhm.
I usually push harder when I'm like around those like edge levels where it's like 279 or like 269,
Yeah. Yeah.
264. Yeah, I
Mhm.
usually push harder when I'm on those levels, but otherwise just like casual.
Get to the new area, kind of like cash in on that
New
the 5
symbol,
level
start doing the
bump.
dailies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, the amount of EXP that comes from dailies and weeklies, well, weeklies, mostly dailies now, right, is definitely significant. They upped that a lot so that people who are just more casually playing, even up to just like half an hour per character, can at a reasonable pace get themselves to 280. Yeah, past 280, of course, it slows down a lot.
Yeah, I'm
Once you're at
noticing that.
285, it slows down a lot more. But and there's the extra demand of the area, right?
Yeah.
I see some question about dropping Meso gear. We can look at that. It's pretty specific, right? Looking at scale up, boss meals vertically. Obvious gains we make right now. That's for your main character. Shining Star Force, skill clearing. clearing up to Ecaling and normal Kalos, and then are you soloing everything that's not Grandis?
Yeah, it's with the exception of Kihila, Darkna, and Will, because I have a friend who needs needs me to run with them. So with the exception of that.
Okay. Are you exchanging that in some way, or just a straight up duo for those?
I'm just straight up doing with them. I'm just helping him until he gets stronger.
Gotcha. Okay. And Ecaling and normal Kalos, that's like you're on the edge of that, or do you feel like you're stronger, but the next one is just too big of a step? Because they are big steps at that point.
Yeah, I guess to rephrase that question, so I'm currently clearing. Yeah, currently clearing Enkalos and Ecaling, and I'm not sure how big of a like gap there is between Encaling and well,
Yeah.
definitely not. I know the gap between like C Kalos and N Kalos is pretty big, but so I guess the next progression step would probably be N Kaling.
Yeah, Encaling is Encaling HP is like 5 times the HP of Ecaling. The main thing is there that you want to make sure that your party gets synchronized enough to get out of P1 without, failing one of the bars, which will probably take a little bit of practice, especially if you've been doing Ecaling for a while where you just nuke out of everything, because it's kind of squishy. As long as you have good positioning and decent timing on things, it's not that challenging. Encaling is essentially the same boss, but just way beefier, which means that, for P1, you want some strong bursty people to get out of dog as soon as possible, and essentially you want to get out of bird as soon as possible, because if you're in bird for too long, then you actually start losing willpower. So typically you still get the 2 strongest people in dog, nuke out of that, go into bird, kill bird as strong as possible, and then 2 other people are just sitting in tiger, just DPMing away basically, until everyone's burst is back. And then P2 also has way more HP in normal, so that's the one where you want to make sure you have enough damage to kind of burst out of that within the duration, but you can kind of cheese. Typically you want to be libbed for that, and then you basically just where you would usually origin in P1, right, so that you don't get hit by the or use some kind of iframe. Instead you want to use your liberation, your Jenny iframe, and then burst for like 7 to 8 seconds, and then slam in your origin, so that because in those first like 7 to 8 seconds she doesn't like move around too much, so you can just stand in your Jenny iframe and then chip away at her and basically do most of your burst already, and then origin after that, so you have like about 18 seconds or so of damage with the whole team, and you want to be able to kill her in that, and as long as you can, then P2 is just the same, but it just takes a bit longer because it's just beefier. So liberation, I would say, is really useful, and it's probably that's like a good mark to start trying for normal culling. But whether your team will be able to do it or not will depend on the runs and on the communication and the individual burst of all of the members, right?
Yeah, makes sense.
So that's that. And Cicalos is honestly not far after that. It's probably around the same time mathematically, but mechanically, skill-wise, and whether everyone is up for long enough runs to do that that's going to be the main factor there. Most people probably not going to move into Cicalos until you can pretty clearly like do a big burst, like a 3-3 squad, and then do like a big 3-minute burst, and then get it pretty close to being finished, and then just play the mechanics, keep the mechanics low, and then as soon as you have the timer almost ready, including the test and everything, to have all the bursts ready, you push the boss, and then you just do that 3 times essentially in P2, and then or 4 times, and then you're out. Most people go to that point, but if you want to do more of a min clear, there is, with playing the mechanics, you can do it with way less damage, but you'll be in there for a lot longer, so there's definitely some hands involved with wanting to do that. But there is big incentive, because you do get double the progression on your Eternals, right? So for some people that might be, and right now there's even more incentive for Cicalos specifically, because the armor boxes can drop there. And I only just got my first clear, but we got 2 armor boxes to drop in our party. So that's, even at Cicalos, if you were doing Cicalos every week, it'd still be 5 weeks for one. So you basically get 6 weeks worth of the progress in 1 week. And it's it's also a box, and they got it last Sunday. So that means with this event, they can actually start gambling on like frog leaping your Eternals up without having to buy a backup preemptively. You could just use the box for for a general backup, right? So that's a really big value for C-Kalos. So I think we've got a lot more people pushing for that. But again, whether your party wants to start doing that early or everyone wants more damage, that'll kind of depend on the party. So I don't know how you see that in terms of your party composition and your where people are running now. If they are going to want to do that soon, or if you're going to keep that same party, like it's a decent composition, or is it just kind of a thrown together, kind of just everyone can kind of do it because normal Kalos and E-Culling, especially for someone's main character, are not like the hardest bosses at this point.
Yeah, there's definitely some like, I guess like outliers where some people are just like giga strong, and like the party composition isn't evenly in terms of strength isn't evenly distributed. But yeah, I'm running with my guild, and my I'd say that on average all of us are pretty strong. I'm definitely the weakest member of the party because I think there's 2 of us who aren't live, with me being one of them, and then I think the other one is like level 284. So yeah, probably not ready. Also, like yeah, obviously it comes down to whether or not we want to actually play the boss mechanics or just like cheesing it. So not too sure.
Yeah,
about that.
for Kalos you will have to play some mechanics at least, but the cleansing is a lot faster now than way back in the day, right? So you charge that the cleanse twice as fast now, so it is way more doable with good comms and good callouts and everything, of course. Yeah, for Culling and for C-Kalos, of course, the closer to 85 the better as well, because it'll mean that everything else has to push less hard. And then that'll also get you into the realm. It might be before that already, but might get you towards the realm of doing Extreme Lotus Duo as well, right? That's gonna start coming on the menu at that point. But again, that's a duo situation, so you're gonna have to specifically find another person where it matches. You know, you match your schedule, you match your timing on everything, right? So yeah, that's gonna be the main thing. But those are the next ones. Yeah, obviously the closer you get to 285, the better there. I'm assuming your... Well, since you did the whole leveling, I'm assuming your Hexa is looking pretty healthy, right?
Yeah, I forgot to include a screenshot of my Hexa, but
if you start at 260.
Yeah, I can just send you a screenshot really quick.
Yeah, sure.
I sent it in Discord.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, I'm not 100% aware of like every single character's order for Hexa and everything, but they're starting to look pretty healthy in terms of levels. And you did the Scardor as well here. Scardor is more, you know, I look more at the numbers relative to each other than the individual numbers, right? Because it's, you know, in KMS, and depending on when you do it, it might have like 3rd and 4th masteries and all that stuff in there, so it might be taking care of some other numbers, but yeah, technically, or almost like solo play min cut, it says for for Kalos. It's very I always find those numbers very optimistic, at least for myself. Like, wouldn't be able to do that stuff. Are you doing Saren still in a pretty full party, or in a solo one, or a small one?
I'm doing Saren right now.
Yeah. Okay, let's go. Should we get that emblem value up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, and as weird as it is, like Extreme BM is probably gonna be before those things, technically. But a lot of that comes down to, you know, if you can do a smaller party BM, have a higher priority for the badge. Do you even want to do Extreme BM, which is, you know, it's not that much harder, but it's just way beefier. And you'll need a full party, and then if there's more people in party, you also want the badge. You know, you're gonna take a back seat or potentially lose blinks on that. You know, that's a lot of personal thing. Usually there's like a transition, at least for a while, of getting to, you know, kill Black Mage with a smaller party, maybe with 3 men, with 2 men, and then carry some other people, and then exchange carry with some other people to get your like stronger boss mules that you want to fund exchange carried, right? it seems that with right now what I just went over the patch notes in Korea, that liberation for Reboot is actually going to get a lot worse from the looks of it. So it seems like starting lib early now is probably a good idea because we don't quite know how GMS is going to how they're going to implement those changes to liberation.
Well, I guess on that topic, if you have a potable badge, I don't think that you care about Jenny badge at all, right?
No, that's true. That's true. So if you have potable badge, then you can push towards extreme black mage a lot faster, especially because then you can also leverage the fact that you don't need the potable badge to maybe you can get a better position for the looting, for the augment, right? Even if you don't have it yet, the exceptional enhancement, maybe you can get yourself in a better position for that. Which it's better than getting a pitch because you're one and done on those, at least, until brilliant accessories come into play, which is much, much, much later. Oh yeah, because you did mention that this is a very old character, yeah, so you got the potting badge, so you're golden on that. Yeah, that's good. But yeah, of course, liberation is probably going to be a big chunk as well of getting the damage to be able to do that content. But yeah, it's closer than you'll think, honestly. Then Extreme Siren is technically also a lot closer than you might think, but the question for that one is, yeah, it doesn't seem like the drop rate for Heart Siren for the emblem is that bad. So I think most people want to have their emblem first, or again, maybe want to exchange carry with other characters if they have a second character that wants an emblem, or if you can't get a party, because it's at that point it becomes a lot of bossing every week. So depending on how much time you have, that tends to be one of the ones that takes a little bit of a backseat. And then you could also easily go into just either blow up hard or blow up normal just for the Meso, because the Meso is still really good if you're on if you have a limited amount of time, right? But yeah, I think it's after those, that I guess Limbo is now coming into that area where Limbo is trying to be like right there after those bosses. But then after that, it's really just like Hard Limbo, Extreme Kalos, Hard Culling, even Extreme Culling. Those are like way, 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 way beyond. So your next cluster would be like those 5 bosses, I guess, with maybe into Limbo. Limbo looks like, percentage-wise now completely impossible. But with an extra 5 levels, Hexa built out a bit more, and then going into the Eternals, and maybe hitting a pitch here and there, it'll come a lot closer than you think right now. But past that, it's really going to take a long time to go past. That's where I'm at now. Where Limbo is probably the next one, and then after that, I don't even know how long it's going to take to get anywhere. But is that set kind of the stage, I guess, on where we're going?
Yeah. So to get this to reiterate, it's you said it was end culling next, preferably like sometime after lit, and then
that makes it a lot easier. Yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you might have to go. You could technically do it without, but then you'd have to get like the curring to switch that out.
Yeah.
So it'd be or play the actual mechanics, but that can be that can be crazy.
And then after that is, you said, who did you say next would be after that?
It could be Cicalis if everyone is down for like longer runs and everything. Otherwise, mathematically, it could be Extreme BM and then Extreme Saren. They could actually be closer, but Cicalis is going to be decently good, yeah. And then after that, it'd probably be Lotus. So you can pretty much go off the percentages, right? If you look at, it's pretty accurate in that sense. You've got the biggest to highest. The reason that the normal culling is like so off right now is a lot of it is level diff. Because for some of the other ones, you're already at the level of the boss, so it's not super crazy. But the culling, I'm pretty sure, is 285, so that's going to just eat into the percentage quite a bit.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Because you can hear pretty sure yeah, in Chaos Kalos. Chaos Kalos is also up there. Surprised at these percentages. Yeah, because they're same sacred and same But what's the HP diff here? 300. Yeah, and Chaos Goddess is more than double the HP. Well, no, it was about double the HP to normal culling. Still kind of crazy that you have, for normal only 24%, but for sea cull is 54%. That's interesting. I'll look into that. Those percentages look a little weird to me. I feel like their normal culling number should be quite a bit higher. Because they're the same level as sea Carlos. And has less than half the HP, but why is it less than half the percent?
I don't have any idea.
I mean, there is, there is situations where you can't hit multiple targets, and you can't, there's no real healing, but there is some damage reduction based on positioning and all that stuff, so, well, I'll look into that. But yeah, no, there should be, yeah, that percentage is probably looks a little bit lower than what's reasonable. But is the party composition you're in now something that you think will push forward, but you feel like you're actually kind of the one lagging behind, so if you can push a bit harder, they can start thinking about moving up?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the case.
Okay. I mean, that is on one hand, that's a bit of pressure. That's a pressure on you, but on the other hand, that's also good to know that you don't have to start looking for 2-3 other parties for all of that, right? If that party wants to stay together and do those things, and all it needs is for you to, push stronger, then I think that's also a very clear plan on what to do. So do you feel like you have the time, and you want to keep investing a decent amount of time to keep doing that?
I mean, honestly, probably not. I think just because I don't have that much time in the day to play that much, so I think if I were to do that, then I'd obviously have to put other stuff on the back burner. But
yeah, depending on how quickly you want to get those levels, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can also establish in what you have now. It's always fine to, like, culling and normal Kalos is as slow as it feels, because getting that one piece in like 20 weeks for an item, but it's still faster than getting pitched. So if you keep doing that consistently, you can still get into Eternals at a decent pace, honestly. And Eternals will help a lot. Like they will give in a lot of damage. They're kind of crazy. Just like the 2-piece, 3-piece. If you just get like all of them to 17, maybe some 18s, maybe some 19s, like nothing even 20 or above, you'll already see like quite a big damage increase from that. And you haven't really hit any pitch yet, right?
I'm currently.
Yeah,
I think I'm
fine.
currently reset.
Did you get the book, right?
Yeah, I have the book, the
and
source,
nice.
the Zergt, and then I have 22 CFEs in my inventory, but I can't swap out a Gullux yet.
You can't swap. Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I saw the Zerg, but then I realized that was a Twilight mark in the skies.
Yeah, that's the Meso gear one.
Gotcha. Yep. Okay, yeah, that's not too bad. I mean, that's a good start for sure. It's like the quote unquote. The CFE is definitely considered one of the harder ones. And how's the situation looking for the hearts? I guess because you have a question as well here about bossing mules and everything, right?
Yeah, I have 2 black hearts in my storage right now.
And how many like hard Lotus runs do you have on a weekly basis?
That number is right now. It's just my recent hyperburn and my main, so only 2 clearing hard Lotus. I'm gonna try to get my shade up to that point at some point, but
yeah, because there's a, to go into this question, right, with the boss mules, there's definitely a lot of options there. And there's no one-size-fits-all. It really has to do with what you like to do in the game and what you have time for. I would always tell people to add boss mules 1 at a time at the most, as long as you have time for it, and don't add more. And then just let that boss mule be in your roster for a few weeks at least, maybe up to a month or so, month or two, and then kind of see if you have time for more. If you like bossing on a character, you can always push the character itself more vertically, and then just add more characters to that to the roster, more bosses to the roster of that character. And if you're okay with where the character is, you can always add, and you want more bossing, you can add a new one, and then see if you like that one more. I think it's good to start wide, start horizontally, and then just kind of have wide funding, because it also means that per character you're funding way less, right? And then based on the characters that you're bossing on, you can really start feeling like which ones do you like bossing on a lot, and which ones are kind of like, you know, they're good, but they're not really your thing. And then I would get them up to the next stage. So like their first stage is usually like up to like, you know, just like HMAG and C10 that they can, not C10, sorry, CRA, that they can just basically do for free, just from 5th job and from just knowing the bosses. That's really free. And then with a little bit of extra funding, they can get to see Pap and normal Akechi very easily. Into Lotus and Damien is a little bit more investment, but that's like the smaller blob, I guess. And then going into Slime and including maybe Easy Lucid and Easy Will, that's kind of like the next step. But again, that's typically, if you just wait until you get 260s from events, that's pretty free as well. Probably up until Easy Will, Normal Lucid, Hard Lotus, and then probably just still do Normal Damien because of the time constraint. But I would go into, at that point, into Hard Lotus pretty quickly just to get hearts for your account, and also because it is a boss that's just very doable and how the spread of the damage is for most classes. Whereas with Damien, you know, the P1 can start taking quite a while, and then P2 with the blue balls, if you have to do multiple bursts in P2 with like 2 or 3 balls in there, it gets very inefficient in terms of time. And then the only drop is like, you know, 1 in a bajillion for an eye patch, and then what are you going to do with an eye patch on that character? It's probably not even going to be worth the meso to dump in that, right? Unless you have aspirations for that character beyond that. So I think Hard Lotus would be like a good goal there. And then the next step, of course, is basically being able to solo Hard Lucid and Hard Will, and then duo C10 or something. That'll be like the next one. Obviously, every next step is going to be less efficient in terms of how much money you make versus how much money it costs. It's always going to be less efficient. But if you wait a long time in between, then you can do really big jumps in upgrades, and you can get the efficiency based on events, amount of backups, and that kind of thing. And you can skip a whole lot of intermediate steps of upgrading that are less efficient, but were necessary for like a main character, for example, right? So I always like to have a few characters in every phase and just kind of see if the characters that want to stay there, that's fine. If they want to go to the next one, then I focus on getting backups and fodders and stuff for a while until they can make that big jump. And if I don't want to, you know, and if I want to get them even further, sometimes I'll skip whole upgrades. So sometimes I'll skip entire Abzo and just never get that. But you always want to kind of even out the pressure. So if you're already saying like you have limited time to play, the real big decision is, are you going to maybe put a little bit more pressure on the main and try to get it to like 283, 284, which, you know, it doesn't have to be right at 285, like a 283, 284, you already start losing most, if not all of that reduced damage anyway from the level difference. But that will mean that bossing mule-wise, you probably won't do as much, so you can keep your focus pretty narrow there and then pretty vertical. Or if you want to do like the bigger approach first and kind of narrow down the bosses from there, you can do that. Or if you want to stay wide, stay horizontal, but then it'll take time away from grinding on your main. So those are like the 3 main options I would say there. For yeah, and the 260s that you're getting, I would always see those basically as Hard Lotus clearers, at least, just with like decent funding, and especially with 6th job now, should be able to get to Hard Lotus pretty quickly. But whether you want to go beyond that into Tene and everything, that's going to totally be up to you if you have the time for that and that you want to spend the resources. The longer you wait in between making those upgrades, the more efficient you can make the upgrades, and the cheaper they will be, and therefore, you know, the more return on investment you will have, and the more the earlier you get them, the lower the investment, but eventually they will pay back for it. But it'll take a while, especially if you want, like, if you're okay with decently long runs, but then yeah, you could end up bossing like 8 hours a week. it's already like a part-time job at that point. You add like dailies and everything and events and on top of that, right? So it really comes down to your priorities and what you enjoy doing in the game. Or if there's money, if there's a big Star Force event, you can say like, I'm just going to do only bossing mules and kind of put the main on the back burner, just do like most relevant 2 or 3 dailies. And then if there's no really any Star Force event or anything like that, or no cubing event, I'm just going to go for the levels again. That'll be up to you. But if you're okay like staying where you're at now with the main, you can definitely go a little bit harder on the bossing mules. Even the next few levels will be good. But levels is not just levels, right? It's also hexa, and that's where a lot of the value will also come from. And the investment in the hexa, you've mostly made. I mean, you have a question there as well about the drop rate gear, right? So there's maybe something else to invest in there as well. But most of the investments in the main have already been made, so you can already start cashing in there. Whereas if the bossing mules are not quite there yet, there's a lot of the upfront costs that you still have to incur before you can start making your money back. So how many were you thinking? Like how many boss mules were you thinking basically?
For in the context of what?
Well, with what I just said, right? Like
Getting into like HLotus or like maybe pushing further.
Yeah, or like just which stages, how many, like what kind of like what are you thinking right now?
Well, definitely pushing. Yeah, I'm definitely pushing only one boss mule at a time. So right now I hyperburden a Shadower. It's sitting at 261 right now. It's clearing HLotus. And I think I'd like to push that further to maybe like at least N10. I think I'm close to it. Maybe just a little bit. Maybe after like a Star Force event, I should be there. I think I'm waiting on 4 set Superior Goal, because I have 3 set right now. I think that's also going to be a big gain.
Yeah, 4 sets is really big, yeah.
Yeah, I think in terms of how many characters overall I'd want to push to that area, I think that just depends on. Well, yeah, first like I'm just playing the classes and seeing like if I like them or not, or if I enjoy playing them, and then if I do, then I'm like, okay, I'll fund a little bit more into this one than I would like than I typically would. So I'm not too sure. For sure, the Shadower is one that I want to push further, at least right now. The Shade, I like bossing on it too, so I'll probably end up pushing that one as well. I mean, I feel like it's kind of a waste of resources to like hyperburn a character, get it to 260, and then unlock a little bit of hex on it, and like have it not clearing up to like a decent amount, I guess. Yeah. So that's my take on that. So yeah, I think for now, just those 2 characters, the Shadow and the Shade, probably will be the Shadow for sure. At least will be past HLot, and then I'm not sure about the Shade yet.
Gotcha. Yeah, they're both like pretty tanky characters as well. So if you're soloing, they can, they're not immediately in trouble if you get caught off guard by an attack or something like that. And we got the door potion, all that stuff, so should be pretty doable for you because you have plenty of experience with the main character as well, even though runs are slightly longer. Yeah. I mean, there's like the whole, like if you want to cap out on crystals at this point, there's because it's like 14 crystals a character, so it's like a decent amount of characters, right? It's like 4, or is it like 13, and then you have a little bit left?
Right now I'm capping crystals out every week.
Yeah, we're just selling a bunch of daily crystals. Or
I also
a lot of boss mules.
Yeah, I think I have. Hold on, I can do a quick count.
A bunch of CRA and.
Yeah, so I have 13 characters, and I'm selling some daily crystals. All of them clear up to at least a catchy.
Ah, gotcha. Okay.
A catchy pop. Yeah. So.
I mean, you say you have not much time. Maybe you should qualify that because that sounds like someone with a decent amount of time.
Well, okay. Well, I work from home, so I guess I do have a decent amount of time. I guess what I should say is I definitely prefer bossing more than farming, for sure.
Right, because so you could just do one boss real quick in between, but you can't take like whole swaths of like 6 hours in a row to...
Yeah. That's what I'm saying too, because like I don't enjoy just like sitting at my like computer and then pressing one button and then putting down my fountain and then like doing the loot rotation every 2 minutes, and then like popping in like a 30-minute coupon makes me feel like I'm like locked in. But, like boss missions are just kind of like, I don't know, they're like 15 minutes for me, and also it's like very non-committal.
Yeah.
just stuff like that. So
Gotcha. No, it makes sense. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I would definitely. Yeah, just it's like the less you invest into a character, the more easy it is also to let it go if you do find something else that's just more fun for you to boss on. Like I had a lot of bossers, and then I narrowed it down, and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna push them further, so I'm gonna do like lib and everything, and maybe like exchanges for, because that's like the next step is if you go into Abzos, it's it is what it is. If you go beyond that point, it's about do you do like 20 Abzos, or do you do 17 to 19 arcanes eventually, maybe through like exchange carries, that kind of stuff. So that's something to think about. But a lot of the scaling past that point also comes from, especially if you can leverage that from your main character, can you start doing like exchange carries on Liberation, like I mentioned before, and can you do either pugs or exchange carries for Tenebris level stuff for ring boxes, right? Those are going to be ways that you can really fund a character without spending any kind of money, so that's going to give you way more efficiency in terms of the value from what you put into the character in terms of money and time. The sooner you can start, the sooner and if you go very horizontal and you do that on quite a few characters, you can also say like, oh, these characters hit a ring, and so I'm going to prioritize on getting them libbed, prioritize on getting them arcane gear. And then the other guys that are not, doing anything, maybe I'll get some fodder, maybe I can get some high star force Abso, and then maybe they'll just stay a size smaller, because you can't really push everything. You can't go vertical and horizontal, right? Or, I mean, you can, but only up to a certain point. Usually, that whole ecosystem has to kind of fund itself, and it's very easy with cubes, because you get a lot of those. But flame-wise, most of your event flames probably still want to go to your main. Yeah, that kind of thing, like working on 12 inner abilities and trying to get those kind of decent can be quite a heavy toll as well, right? So, but as you boss on more characters, you probably already know a few that you probably don't feel like pushing past where they are right now at all, and then probably some that you probably would be totally fine with investing a little bit more into. And you just always want to invest this resource you have too much of. So your resource is not time. So you probably don't want to do too many like extra dailies and weeklies and that kind of thing. But if you consistently do some of the extra bosses that give you fodder, so that you can get options whenever an event runs around, and you can just check the characters, because your main character is going to run out of options, right? It's going to be basically pitched whenever you get one, and then Eternals every 10 to 20 weeks. But other than that, there's not going to be that much that you can do on your main character. I mean, the lib weapon coming up in 2 months, but other than that, there's not too much you can do on that's crazy. And maxing your flame is all going to be event flame, so that's no direct meso cost. So all of the meso after that is pretty much just going to be able to go into all of your bossing mules to start scaling them up. So I would just look at every character one at a time and just look at, is this character fine where it is? Do you want to push this character a lot further? Or like a little bit further or a lot further. So like kind of divide them into 3 groups, and then based on where they're at, alternate their individual plans a little bit when you're doing the weeklies, and maybe scale on 1 or 2 extra bosses. Maybe you're not even selling the crystals, but maybe you go out of your way and you do like normal ping bean for a few weeks on a few characters to get some extra belts, for example, right? Or you start doing a bunch of Heluxes, and you do that for a while just to see if you can get them all into. Because if you're not going super far, like full superior Golex is probably a bit much. If you're doing like up to just like Lotus and Damien and below, you don't even need, but you could probably like with reinforced Golex, you can get away with that really easily. It's a lot faster. It's almost as strong. But if you're definitely going to push past that, and you're going to push towards hard lucid, hard will, that kind of stuff, then you probably just want to go always to superior and just skip that whole thing. But that's one of those dailies where you can say like, oh, I'm going to start doing that on like 3 or 4 characters a day. That'll already add quite a bit of tax. And then when you're done, you can do another group, right? And the sooner you start with that, the sooner you'll have like that foundation of the time-gated stuff out of the way. But you'll have to, you have to give all of your characters like a ranking on how much do I care about this character and how much do I think I'm going to enjoy the bossing. But it's good you're already doing some base level bossing, because that's the best way to know. Like I can tell you which classes are good, but if you don't enjoy them, then you shouldn't pick them, right? You should pick the ones that you're already looking forward to bossing every week and that you like bossing on the most.
Yeah, for sure. Like I have a Demon Slayer that's like pretty well geared for like what it's clearing, but I just like despise logging into it, even though it clears everything so fast. I just don't like playing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good one to just keep right where it is. And then eventually, you know, maybe when all the other characters don't really have a project, this character will have like 5,000 pieces of CRA. So you'll just, you know, you'll just make some brain dead 21 CRA pieces because it'll just be so cheap for you comparatively. And then maybe some of the stuff will become so easy that you can kind of get over that hump. Because some classes get, even if you don't like playing them, some classes are better against certain other content, right? And then pushing them, and as you get more familiar with all of the content from different angles, you might see an opportunity for a character as well, where you're like, hey, this class would actually be really good against this boss, so I can just, if I get it to that point, maybe that's, you know, worth it for me. Then you might have a kind of a different balance in terms of worth versus investment. But yeah, I think overall you're going at it pretty well. But yeah, is it worth the meso? You really have to, yeah. I think as long as it's content you enjoy doing, so you like bossing and it fits with your schedule, and you pick characters that you like there, I think it'll always be worth to invest into it. But you want to just make sure that you keep enough resources for your main character, like in case you hit a pitch, if you want to tap in a moment. If you're okay with waiting for an event, then you'll never really have to hold on to too much money, right? Because towards events, you'll just always start saving naturally. When it comes to the Eternals, you could get very unlucky, and then you might have to hold on to more money for that, or, you know, kind of like close the tap on the boss mules. But as long as you keep investing, on average, you should be working towards getting back more, and should be building the snowball or avalanche or whatever the metaphor for that one is.
Yeah, I think you brought up a good point earlier. I'm not quite in Eternal pitch waiting room yet because I still have an arcane piece to finish. So I think maybe the route I should probably go is just like focusing on finishing that, and then when I'm in Eternal pitch waiting room, then I can start just like not having to worry about just like spending on like other characters.
Yeah, and the drop meso stuff and like finishing that up is probably a good time to do that now, just to make sure that you get yourself in the opportune moments to, or in an opportune position to be able to get at least the best odds possible for the pitches, right, and for the ring boxes and all that. Just for all the situations, because you have your roar 4, right? I think I saw that. Yeah. I don't know if you have like all the rings, but there could be situations where you might have to swap, or where just like adding an extra ring. You got the con 4 as well, though. Yeah, that's very solid setup for sure. Just more drop rate, good, man. Just more fragments, more more chances for all the pitches, event items. Like it just scales so well. I guess we could go into that part if you're okay moving into like the drop in the meso stuff, or unless you have another question here.
Yeah, we can move into that.
Because I see that you say you have 6 lines of meso, 8 lines of drop. That's like your strongest combined set.
Yeah, in my training gear, I'm overcapped on Meso because I ended up hitting hybrid before double drop.
Gotcha. Yeah. And so there's nothing with just like single meso. There's just meso and like hybrid stuff. Oh, there's a double meso here. Yeah, B mark. Yeah.
Yeah.
Early on, you just want to get as many runs as possible. So you think like double line is amazing, and then you hit double meso, and then you realize that that's going to cut into your drop rate, and you're like, damn, this is like a blessing and a curse. Drop, yeah. I mean, yeah, 6 and 8 is not perfect, of course, but that's very close. Do you have? So there's like 4 big stages, right? One is like a 5 and 4 set, and then 2 is like a 5 and 4, so you have to say 0 and 10 set, and then 3 would be a 5 and 10 set, and then a 5 and 10 set, usually on 8 pieces, that scales around, or warps its way around, I should say, like the Spirit Pendant, and maybe a continuous ring for some classes. But you're probably not contouring bossing on the lower level bosses. It's not as necessary anymore now because you don't do like all of the bosses anymore, right? Because of the limit of the crystals. So the value of switching to that is not as high anymore. On some classes it is, but not on most classes. But you probably want to still be able to wear your Spirit Pendant and still have 5 and 10, right?
Yeah. I do have 200 in my like box breaking gear, but obviously not in the Meso gear. Yeah.
So you've completed phase 1, phase 2, and now you're like trying to see if you should do phase 3 now, which I think considering that you only have 1 arcane to finish, and then you basically pitch an Eternal Waiting Room, I think this is a good time to work on that. But you might be able to just skip stage 3 and go immediately into stage 4 because it just you probably have the income for it since you're doing so much bossing. Is what my guess is. So you're asking here which pieces. There's some pieces here. So there's the double Meso to drop. How many of the pieces is this?
Well, I guess my first question would be like, my understanding is that the drop rate for fragments is logarithmic. It follows a logarithmic equation. So I'm just wondering if like, I guess the weighting of the value if I were to go for 200 drop in Meso gear, because I think I'm at 160 right now, right?
If you're 6 and 8, yeah, then you'll be at 160 from the drop gear, yeah. Is it logarithmic? I mean, it's like what is it called? Like an asymptote? Like there's probably some kind of cap, but whether that cap exists because it's logarithmic or because there is just a natural limit of how much drop you can get, it's definitely not linear. I think we've established that much. But how non-linear it is hard to say unless we have like kind of a perfect. You'd have to get a pretty big sample of like a lot of people with a lot of data, right? I think cost-wise, how expensive it is to make a 5 and 10 set, even on 8 accessories, I think is still worth it just because it's not only fragments and it's all the. Just being in one setup and just being able to switch, just like the utility and the simplicity of it. But on the other hand, also the it's one of those things where even if you don't know exactly how much better it is, you kind of just have to max out just to make sure that you're not missing out, kind of thing. It's kind of like FOMO, honestly. Because a lot of times we don't know the exact numbers. Like the fact that we know it's not perfectly linear has more to do with data gathering than what Nexon has told us.
Yeah, and I guess, I mean, over a long period of time, I guess someone with 200 drop will always...
They'll always get more.
Than,
yeah. Exactly. So the more hours you're going to put in, it's just like with regular drop of Meso gear, it's always the case like as long as you know that you're going to put in the hours in the character, the sooner you do it, the faster you'll make it back. So might as well go for it. But I can't tell you, like, you'll have to be able to train at least this many hours to make that last extra line worth it. So maybe, that money's better spent somewhere else. Like, that equation doesn't really exist because we don't have the exact number of drop and everything and the expected drop like that,
Yeah, that's true.
Like on full drop, I think I expect around 10 fragments every half hour, like around 20 every hour. But you can have a bad hour and you can get like fucking 8, and you can have a really good hour and get like almost 40. That exists. So you have to take a sample over a very long period of time. But I think around 10 plus for half hour is that's definitely like a good half hour, honestly. 8 or so is still not bad, honestly. If you get like 16 an hour, that's still pretty decent. But yeah, you'll just I don't know for though as a night walker to which extent the pieces, because that's your follow-up question as well, right? Like if the pieces are super important in terms of being able to keep killing with your bats, right?
Yeah, I haven't had any trouble I mean, I just got to Arteria, I think like a week ago. I'm not having any trouble right now two-shotting with bats, so...
Okay. Yeah, because they can do multiple hits within the rotation, so they don't have to one-shot or anything.
Yeah.
Two-shot is fine. Yeah, okay. Yeah, because there's different strategies there as well. Sometimes people will just, when they're moving into pitch, it'll leave open certain pieces, right? And then those pieces will just easily become drop rate gear because... they're the strongest pieces that you have, but they have no other purpose anymore because they're getting 100% replaced by pitch, and then it's very easy. And then if you have some of those, and then some that are items that you can upgrade more easily because you get a lot of backups, would be like a Black Beamer, or like for rings, it could be like making a secondary slime ring, because at a certain point, once you finish your first one, especially if you're doing sea slime regularly, you start ending up with a lot of extra slime rings, and even though eventually you want a 23 star, that's still a very, very far away thing, right? So making like another 19 or 21 slime ring is going to be comparatively very cheap, but it's going to be also comparatively a very strong piece. Like if you compare that to an event ring or something, if you do need a little bit of extra damage, a 19 or a 21 slime ring is going to be way stronger than an 18 solid or a 17 kana. So if you do need damage, or like a eternal, if you do need damage, replacing one of those could, with like a stronger slime ring, definitely be a good idea. I guess the other ones are already double lining here, so it would be like the solid ring, I guess, and that would also compensate for the luck that you're losing on there, right?
Yeah.
So that's something you can do. Pendant, you want to focus on 1, but you already have a 22 dom there, so that's great. Is it the 22 dom though? It could eventually want to. Never mind, you already have the source, so you don't have to worry about that. Twilight Mark is something you can also keep star forcing up, right? As you get backups, if you do need extra damage, you very easily can go up to 19, even up to 21 as you get more of those lying around. And the Stella Earrings, eventually you'll get a bunch of, so you can star force most of these pieces up and keep those without doing them a lot extra. But I guess, yeah, the Estella wants to become hybrid wants to become double drop. I guess if the Estella becomes hybrid, then the Black Bee Mark has to be replaced completely, right? Because then
yeah, that's the problem with my accessories. It's like, it's not just a matter of I need to change one pot. It's like, if I hit this on this, then I have to go back and change this accessory. Or if I hit this first, then this has to change. Like, so it's a lot of moving parts because I just have a really weird loadout.
I honestly, it's looking pretty good. Like there's good pieces in here, and it's as well like kind of treasuring can star force up pretty easily, right, with backup. So there's definitely a lot of potentiality for future here, and you have a lot of the lines already. That's good, and you have at least one double drop already. That makes things a lot easier. But yeah, the double Meso probably will just eventually have to go. If you can get, because you're at 8 now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I mean, if you get double drop on a Stella, then you'll have to hybrid the Bee Mark, and if you get hybrid on the Stella Rings, you'll have to double drop the Bee Mark, right? That's That's basically it. And that is extra pressure. That is annoying. But yeah, once it's done, it's done forever. Like doesn't seem to be like anything in the near future in Korea that's going to be messing with the quality of that gear. Or if you and you have growth potential with these pieces already, so that means you can go like a little bit harder on flames if you want to on some of these. But not that any of them are bad. Like I haven't seen all of these, but it also means that this gear is going to stick with you for quite a while. So I don't think you necessarily have to change which pieces they are. But like I said, if a pitch comes in and there's like a really strong piece that comes open, then you might want to add it. But there's quite a few of these that can be replaced pretty easily or upgraded pretty easily. Like a slime ring instead of solid, Gun of Treasure can go higher, Twilight Mark can go higher, Stella Earrings can go higher with backups. That should already be plenty of damage, yeah, because you're already not having any problem. Eventually, Carcion will be quite strong, but since you're not really power leveling the main, that'll take a while, so you'll have a lot of time to have other stuff to come in.
So you think for pot switching? Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go.
So for like switching the pots on the accessories, you say I'd probably like either just touch the Black Bean Bark or the Estella Earrings, probably, or
4, 5. So it's 4, 7 without the 2 bottom ones. So you need 1 and 3 extra. Yeah. You need one Meso 3 drop on the bottom 2. So these 2 will both need something extra. If regardless, you're gonna have to redo the Black Bee Mark, right? But with whichever one you do first, the other one is gonna have all the pressure on it to be the exact line that you need. So the last one is always the most expensive.
Yeah.
And that's So you I never like to go, oh, the average per hybrid is this much, so just do it like times 7 or whatever. But it's more like the total lines, and then for the last one, you have to like for one of them basically charge the 18 bill or whatever it is, get the perfect line, and then average that out over the total. So on average, it's like 4 to 4.5 bill per piece, more like it. That's a bit more fair of a number. Which still, if you think about that, like finish your entire set is like roughly around the same price as like 3-line attacking an emblem. That's a worthwhile investment for your character, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it being only around like 30 to 34 bill or something. If you look at how much money you make in a week with your characters, it's actually quite reasonable to make that investment, I think.
Okay. Yeah, I'll work towards that then.
Mm-hmm. So would do that. Advise that. Let's see. Lowercase solo. Obvious gains. Yeah, we could look at obvious gains and Shining Starforce right now, right? Attempt push glove. That's your last arcane, right?
Yeah, it's sitting at 17 right now.
Yeah. You have Eternal Hats. Seems like an ore situation because I'll only have about 40 bill by Shining Starforce. Oh, so have you been kind of, because you make a decent amount of money with all these boss mules, right? Have you been still spending quite a bit here and there?
Yeah, I've just been spending a little bit on my Shadower. Just like, I think the amount that I spent on my Shadower in relation to what I got is pretty good. Like, I think I definitely got lucky on that.
Okay.
I say I'll have 40 bill by Shining Starforce, but I currently have like 35 bill, and I haven't run any of my boss mules yet. So maybe that'll be closer to like 50 or 60.
Yeah, you could get into the 50s then, yeah. Well, depending on how much time you have, and it's Christmas and everything, so I don't want to put that pressure on you, but there could be a chance for that. There is the miracle time, but honestly, that's super skippable if you have a Shining Starforce the day after. That money will probably be way better spent there.
Yeah, I was planning on just skipping that entirely.
So look at your backups. You don't have any, you have 2 glove backups, and then have you boomed it already a few times, or?
Yeah, I think I'm like three booms deep on the gloves.
Only 3 so far, chat. He's not doing too poorly. There's always one that eats up your stuff. I think did Rain boom like 23 shoulders? Yeah, there's always something. I luckily for Eternals for Arcanes I've never gotten that unlucky, but yeah, pray on that not happening for you either. Like up to 5. That's it's unlucky, but it's doable. Let's see what you have here. So these backups. And you got decent income for boxes. If you haven't done your bosses yet, could maybe see another box or so. And you could probably technically buy a whole bunch of backups if you need to, right?
Yeah, true. Yeah.
So that's up to you, like how much pressure you or how much value you give to being done, quote unquote. Like I would see a lot of value on also if you can get the glove to 19, you're already pretty much done, because I'm looking at like the average of where your whole account is versus that's where I would look specifically versus seeing the one piece that's not done yet and then feeling horrible about that. But I can't control how you personally feel about that, right? Or if you can get to 21 and then you run out of backups, or you're already buying backups at that point. And then maybe, you just wait until the next Shining in 6 months and you'll have like 6 or 7 gloves by then, and then you just no brain tap it for the last star just to get it finished. That'll be up to you, but if you have your sights on funding more boss mules and pushing them further, I would take like an efficient Star Force on the main before trying to 22 it. Personal take, before, going to 22, just to try to min-max it and feel like you're done. Because sure, you'll be done with that thing, but then, you already have the Eternal Hat. Like the next project will just roll around anyway, so you're never really done anyway. But that last star from 21 to 22 on the gloves, that could bankrupt you, but it will also not make any significant dent in any content that you're making. So that's usually how I look at things. And that same kind of money could be the entire funding on a boss mule, from doing CPAP and Akechi to basically like blowing up easy to normal Lucid, right? That's kind of like the level of of funding that you're looking at that point, because that glove could be one tap away, it could be like 60 bill away. That's kind of the problem. If you had like 5 or 6 gloves, I'd say, send it. But 2 is a little spooky to me personally.
Yeah, at some point, in between, we had another Shining Star Force in December, and then I got all my Arcanes at 21, and then, yeah, at some point all my Arcanes were 21, but then I just wanted to like finish them, so I tapped them all, and then 3 of the 4 went, and then the glove boomed. Honestly, depending on how it goes, I think I'll probably just if like I'm if I just straight streak from 17 to 21, maybe I'll play for like maybe one boom because I don't have that much money.
Yeah.
And then if that ends up the case, then I'll probably settle like 19 or 21 if I only have one more backup left, and then try to send the rest on the Eternal Hat.
Yeah, because the Eternal Hat, have you kind of figured out for the Eternal Hat what you want to do as an approach there? Because that should also be tied in, I think, with like what difficulty of boss you're doing and how long you're going to be doing those. You might have to compromise on your desire to tap and your reality of the income there, maybe.
Yeah, that's honestly for the hat. I might just full send it honestly, because I don't know if like me swapping over to Eternal right now is the difference between me clearing different content per se. I think my biggest power spike is probably lib.
Yeah. But
yeah.
Also, if you lib with the hat, you get your 2 set bonus immediately as well, right?
If you lib with the hat.
Yeah, so the hat is also part of the Genesis set, so you don't have to wait for 3 pieces. If you wear the Eternal Hat and the Liberated Weapon, that's immediately a 2 set bonus as well.
Oh, I thought the weapon is the Genesis weapon like actually part of the Eternal set, or are you saying it's part of the Eternal set because it's a lucky item?
No, it's part of the Eternal set.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, so you get 2 set bonus on top of that, and that helps with the loss of the CRA hat. So that's why 22 is not even necessary. Like a 21 with lib is already an upgrade as well. Or, and again, here there's a bunch of different options. There's the option of just waiting until you have 3 pieces and just set full 317, so basically be 4 set with the weapon. That could already be an upgrade. Of course, in terms of the amount of money spent on 3 potentials, 3 flames, 3 Star Forces to 17, that is not that great of an upgrade for how much investment that is. If you have at least a few of those be 18 or 19, then that's already way more worth. But of course, once you're there and you get the next Kalos pieces and you can start rolling some 17s up to 19s, then that's a huge value in terms of a little bit of investment and huge gains. Then 19 to 21 into 22 gets really spooky. So, because a lot of people don't like that spooky 19 to 21 and 19 to 22 and maybe having to settle back down for 17 shit, a lot of people just go 22 or nothing. And that is a valid approach. And almost to an extent, if you don't have as many backups coming, like in your situation, like you're not doing the hardest boss, and you're also not close to doing it yet, that almost means that, there's no loss if you don't hit, so you might as well just try to go big.
I think I think that was my logic.
Yeah, so I think that's the step you're following. Or you could say, like, I'm going to try to hit, like, if I can hit 19 or so, which is very reasonable with 1 piece. If my second one also goes 19, then you can already definitely switch 2 piece in and be 3, and that'll already be a quite significant upgrade. And then your next piece, 19, 19, 17, will already be... That'll be like locked in, and then from there on you can start hard gambling if you want to. So it'd be totally up to you whether you think, if I hit a piece, that's cool. If I don't, that's also cool. Always just be willing to gamble as much as you're willing to lose, right? If you're willing to lose that because you don't have it yet, like that's totally cool. What some people do is that they try to do that approach, and then once they get like 3 or 4 booms in and they still don't have a 22, you can always switch back to the other strategy. And maybe at that point as well, if you do keep playing and you do keep leveling, eventually you'll get closer to normal Kaling and you'll get closer to C Kalos, and then the income of those pieces will get a lot better. And then, at least you tried and you didn't hit, whatever. But then you'll have the better weekly income for it, and it'll still catch up to your pitch anyway, because those things are just terrible. So there's no super rush on like, oh no, my pitches have been done for like 3 years and I still don't have my Eternals. No, the Eternals are probably still going to be done before your pitches, just because of the average income, and especially once you get to C Kalos because of the boxes, that's going to, tremendously speed you up.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's a horrible strategy. I did it with both of my characters with one it hit, with the other one it didn't. That's just that's where I'm at. And now I've repositioned on the second character to try a different strategy. But for you, you just gotta do what feels best there.
Yeah, I mean, also like tapping Eternal Piece is like super expensive, right?
It's pretty expensive. Yeah, you probably want to even on a 5, 10, 15, you probably want to have at least like 40, 45 bill per piece and count that. It probably will spend about that much before it booms.
Yeah. I think I'll just see like how my luck is going, or how much Meso's deep I'm in, and then just kind of like base my decision around that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, and if there's like a few other upgrades on like a Shadow or on a Shade that you could make very cheaply because you have a lot of backups, then maybe try to Arcane first, and then try the other upgrade on the other character, and then with some money left, you can send it on the Eternal. There is another 5, 10, 15 coming as well, right? I mean, prioritize around anything that you're going to safeguard and that's just level 200 or above is probably a good priority for Shining. And then, if you have a bunch of CRA, you could do that at 5, 10, 15. You could even do that on a 30% off, right? That doesn't have to be right away, for example.
Yeah.
Let's see, Daybreak, 22 CFEs. Yeah, that's really cool that you already have those. I was kind of in the same situation. I think I had 1 or 2 more pieces, but I also was with the CFEs and like waiting to hit, and then I hit the emblem from Saren, and then I was able to equip the emblem, and then the earring, and then also the damaged black heart. So I went from like 4 to 7 set basically overnight. That's always a nice power creep that you can do. But yeah, the more hearts you have there, the better, because you kind of don't want to have to go into the heart if you have to like drop it again, because then that just feels really shitty. But then again, if you're on the cusp of doing certain content and then you want to get a heart so you can do the content a few times, and maybe you can make enough gains in the meantime so your whole party can get strong enough, and then you can kind of use it to bridge the gap, and then you go off heart again for a little bit. But yeah, seems like you're definitely building up some Hard Lotus characters, and you have some more eye on some more, right? So it will help. You probably want to have about, I want to say like 5 to 6 Hard Lotus runners with like 300 plus drop rate to like upkeep heart on one character. That should probably be decently okay. I was at like 11 for a while, and then keeping up heart with 2 characters, and that was doable. But you will need drop rate on them. If you don't have drop rate gear on all of them, which you probably don't do early on, then yeah, even keeping up on 1 will probably take you like 8 to 9 Hard Lotus runners or so.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And then yeah, that total control is of course totally out of your control. So
yeah,
that's just a pipe dream. Some people hit first week, and then other people probably not see it until more than a year down the road. Typical pitch standard distribution. Reinforced Galax, back up. 2 black hearts in storage, thank you. Legion large drop with 3% attack. Yeah, well, you want to go for boss times and stuff. You didn't really mention that, but that's most likely once you're.
Yeah, my plan was like get to 285 first and then go back.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's reasonable. Yeah, for most people that's reasonable. Some people it's at 280 where you're at now. It makes more sense for them to do it there because they really are not going to be leveling anywhere past it. But if you feel like there's still decent progress to be made and decent chance, so you definitely want to go for 285 for those bosses, then doing it at that point is definitely a good idea. Maybe by then, there's another area with familiars, and I can actually still get a little bit of EXP at like level 275 or something, so it's still possible.
Yeah, I had just like, when I came back to the game, they had just added Cernium Fems, or I just hit Cernium when they added Cernium Fems, so...
Oh, perfect, yeah.
Yeah, I had been opening them, and I don't have a count, but like I'm like really deep on the Fems, and I haven't really hit anything, so that just kind of like killed all like my motivation for like farming for those.
Yeah, some people hit fast and are like, oh, it's a pretty good system, and then everyone else is like, I hate you.
Yeah.
At least you have a large drop, that's something, but yeah. Sometimes it's better to not know the count, because it'll just be depressing.
Yeah, for sure.
Besides that, yeah, you're already running hard Saren in duo, right? So you don't want to go too hard on the emblem. That makes sense. Libbing soon, so we'll start saving money after Shining to go towards that. We looked at all the drop in the Meso gear. Eternals soon. You got like those non-perfect 2.5 line stuff on most.
Yeah, on Cubso, my goal is to just like at least fake 3 line everything. because I had some like only 2-line pots for most of my equips.
Oh, your hat's even only like the 17-star one.
That's the cooldown hat.
Yeah. So you could even get some more stars on there if you needed damage, right? On top of the accessories. So there's definitely a lot of space there to expand. So nothing too crazy. Like you don't need to make 22 Estelas right now to be able to keep training or something, right? That's really for people who want to push into the newest area like immediately in hardcore grinding. 17, yeah. The accessories and the other stuff. Oh, that's already all 22. Very nice, very nice. Yeah, this is solid. Even the flame, 32 and 3. Belt flame. You're working on flame on the source a little bit, or you're still working
Yeah,
on...
I've been throwing because the flames on the source and the Zerk are not that good, so I've just been throwing event flames on them. But
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of unlucky.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It's you get a lot of Black Flamestorm events now. I think we get another 100 tomorrow, right? So,
yeah.
As long as you're doing your Punch King, you're getting a few hundred from that. So yeah, that's all pretty solid. Yeah, some of these things can be 3-line. Like if you're going for 3-line, you definitely want to, like if you get the Saren Emblem, you definitely want to dump onto that immediately. If there's an actual cube sale, or you want to 3-line stuff, then the badge should be the first one to go, right? It's got the first, it's got the lowest amount of junk lines. But even the heart, getting it 3-lined, maybe. But like sometimes people go for like double priming on that. I definitely wouldn't go that far. I would just focus on more building up black hearts instead, and then because then the heart is going to get replaced anyway. So not too worth going that far. If you're flaming that stuff, then you could. What's the because I don't see your berserked in here. What's the flame on there? Is it like similar to the source or?
It's 566.
Okay. Yeah.
Sorry, I don't know why I didn't include it. I just sent it to you.
Oh, it's easier to forget 1 or 2 things. Don't worry. 660, yeah. And you have a lot of you got a lot of double all stat with your main stat in the middle somehow.
Yeah.
That's an interesting rolls. Yeah, if you added all of that up, there's still quite some stat to gain there, but man, that's such a small part of the puzzle, and it's better to just see if those big pieces, if they go first, right? And then you can start building around those. And if they don't go, then it's probably better to just work a little bit more on the boss mules and just have more fun there and do some extra bosses there, right? I think that's for you, that's going to be more fun, so I do that. Okay, anything we touched on, or any subject that you feel like didn't go into deeply enough, or you still have any remaining questions now?
I think one last question. I think you briefly touched on it. So for example, for a character that I know is like only going to clear up to HLot and nothing past it, should I just do 17 arcanes or 21 Apsos, or do you have like kind of a like general I've been running for like this amount of time and I haven't hit anything, so I'm just gonna full send the Apsos? Or
yeah, if you're doing a hard Lotus, you could so you're looking at the timer, you want to do like hard Lotus, and then maybe like normal, you do normal Damien, normal Slime, easy Lucid, something like that, and then everything just lower. If you want to do all of that within half an hour, you probably don't, I don't even know if you need Arcanes or even Absos past 17, honestly. So I usually just go like path of least resistance. Like you probably want to, I mean, you definitely want to go Superior Gollux, right? Which means if you go Superior Gollux, that you could very easily go 21 kind of treasuring, 20 Superior with the transferred in kind of treasuring into Superior, right? Probably can go 20-star Superior ring and a 20 or 21 belt, and then the pendant can just stay 17, right? So you really want to start looking at which pieces can very easily go and which pieces are just trickier, and then just completely ignore those because it's just going to be too much effort. So like a black B mark, eventually you get enough pieces so you can make a 20 there. Twilight marks, if you do like exchanges and you do those runs, you can very easily get a 17, very easily get a 19. A 21 is probably decently doable. But if you have full 17 Abzo, you'll already be stronger than my character here. If you have decent WSE pot, like this character could probably HLot, but it'll take too long, right? So you definitely need something like a size bigger than this guy. But like, I have 12 crit rate and 18 magic attack on the emblem, so that's not, amazing. 35 boss, 9 damage, 9 attack on a secondary. There's definitely some improvement there. Got a boss 2-line attack on the weapon. That's really good, but it's only a 19-star Fafnir, so if that's instead an Abzo, if you want to make sure that you can get it, like 20, I like 20-star stuff a lot because it's really efficient, because especially but only if it's transfer hammered stuff, right? Because then it's coming off 21, which is really efficient. So
yeah, true.
Yeah. So like 20-star superior and 20-star Abzo, if you make that, and then all your other pieces are either 17 or they slow walk up to 19 as you get backups, as long as the potentials are not trash, the flames are not trash, you'll be able to definitely do those bosses that you're talking about.
Okay,
and then, yeah. And if a character is unlucky on something like a kind of treasuring, you can always make Meisters, right? If they're unlucky on Dominators, you can maybe craft those, or maybe, you can do an exchange carry with someone, maybe get some Daybreaks from a Fiella run or something, if you can do that instead. There's some options there.
Yep.
Yeah, these are like roughly the pieces. But yeah, if you replace these here with Abzo, right, either with 17 or with 20. So I did that for my Fire Poison. The goal for my Fire Poison is kind of what you're talking about, but I ended up getting really lucky on the potentials, and the character is way too strong now. Because also Liberated after that and has a continuous 3, and I probably, if it wasn't my 7th boss mule, but it was like my 3rd one, I probably do solo Lucid on there every week as well, because I feel like I could still do that in a reasonable amount of time as well. And that's definitely like the big jump past like Hard Lotus. So I probably went a little bit overboard on, getting the... But that's 20 Abzo, 20 Superior. But then I also did 20-star Abzo Weapon, but I would definitely not do that. Replace the 20-star Abzo Weapon with the... just with the 17 arcane, yeah. Even if you have to buy it, it's just so much better. 20-star Abzo Weapon was such a waste of money. So that's like the funding I did on my cane. But because I also started Lib, it's not Lib yet, and I also started to try to get rings, but also the rings not really fully done yet. But this character's funding is probably similar. It's got a 40 ID, 18 attack. Not exactly what you want, but like the 17-star on the weapon, 20-star Abzo, 20-star Abzo. But you see, like, 1 line of dex, 1 line of attack. This got 20% dex, 20 dex, 21 dex, and then the 21 CRA becomes very cheap, right? So everything else like 2 line. You have an 18 Twilight Mark. Not quite lucky enough to get a whole bunch of those.
So what content is your cane clearing up to?
Basically what those bosses that you mentioned. So the normal Lucid, Easy Will, Slime. But I could also, with someone who's a bit stronger, I can also like duo C10A, for example. Like that's possible. But that's mostly because of 6 jaw power creep and having the extra iframe from that and unlocking the masteries and everything. That added quite a bit on top of that. Yeah. But I would definitely be getting like kind of carried, well, pretty carried on that. But yeah, I managed to get a slime to 21, because I had a backup or 2 here, and then 1 actually went. I have more weapons, but yeah, because he's already a Libin, I'm like, I'm not gonna spend on that. Yeah, and pap marks. And that's the other thing, right? Like they say you don't get black bean marks, maybe you get a pap mark, and then boom, you can send that. So yeah, if you just try to hit on the things that you do get, but this is probably a decent set here. Like, see 117 Dominator and 117 Superior. That looks like trash, but then the rings is like 21, 21, 20, and then this is a special ring. So like the rings is a whole stage ahead, and that definitely compensates for how, yeah, you can keep this pretty shitty. And then for the belt, I went 21 because I got another drop. And then you can take a little bit more risk there. Yeah, this guy can definitely do all that stuff. But he was already at like 255 without 6 job, already doing Hard Lotus pretty well. And the other bosses, but just, yeah, ever since going into 6 job, it just makes it even faster. So I would say it's definitely... and then you don't have to push as much on the Star Force, right? You just fodder 21, everything. One event, boom, slam it all into 20, the next one. And then you kind of fill the gaps, and then you use free cubes and free flames and everything from events to kind of finish all the things off a little bit, just to rough around the edges. It's really just, yeah, WSE potential. Make sure that that's decent. I'll probably get a slightly better emblem on him. But, yeah, other than that, it's pretty much finished, I would say. Especially because Libbing. Libbing's coming up next month, so then it'll definitely be done. Probably be around probably around 80 mil CP or something with that. So that's insanely good, I think.
Mm-hmm.
That's like where my buck is at. So I have a few characters around this, and then a few that are a little bit stronger than that, because I was still testing on how to fund, so I overfunded them a little bit. And then I have a few characters that have side characters or even stronger than that, but they're still at 260, but they're basically funded like a 275 or something. And then I have 2 really high level characters, so that's kind of like different stages that mine are in. I'll transfer into the Abzo. There's root shoes that you can buy in Root Abyss. There's root gloves that you can buy in the black market in Garandis. For the capes, you have the Enraged Sakum capes from Chaos Sakum. Now for the shoulder, you have are they also called root shoulders that you buy? I think in Root Abyss as well. And the best part is that most of these items, except for the cape, but all of these items you can just keep as coins, so you can keep them in your use inventory and just buy them as you need them on the event itself. And you don't have to have your whole inventory overrun with backups, so that's really nice.
Mm-hmm.
And it just establishes your character way further. If you know you're going to push further, then I would just go straight for 17 Arcanes. It'll be a little bit weaker than this, but then you know eventually, once you go from 17 to 19 Arcanes, you go past this quite a bit, and then if you're ever planning on going past 19 Arcane, then I would always just skip High Star Force Abso, essentially.
Okay, yeah. That's a good way to look at it. Thanks.
Yep. Okay, anything else come to mind?
Nope, I don't think so. I think that answers everything that I had.
All right. Well, I guess congrats again on winning the giveaway. I'm glad that it was able to, or I hope that it helped you, and that you get some more direction and some more options clear for your future of playing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, you're very welcome. And happy holidays, of course. And I wish you great success this Sunday. Hopefully everything hits. And yeah, if you ever have any questions, feel free to reach out.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. I hope you have a good holiday.
Thank you very much. All right, have a good one.
You too. Thank you.
There we go. An upper happy customer. Number 1 of the... Wait, okay. Usually I do 2 giveaways. Then I decided to do 3. Then I messed up how many comments were actually in the giveaway thing because they didn't show up because YouTube has this weird thing where it's like responded to comments, whatever. So I decided to do an extra one because it was 15 that I counted with, and there were 5 extra ones that I didn't, and it was exactly 3/4, whatever. So this is number 1 of the 4 giveaways of December already, and I think I have another one tomorrow. No, not tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to spend some Christmas stuff at my mom's. Saturday the 28th we have another one. But yeah, hopefully this was informational or a little bit entertaining to you guys listening. If you have any follow-up questions or you have any, about your own situation or about this situation or why I advise certain things, why I set certain things, please let me know. I can always qualify or clarify wherever needed. And if you have a specific question for your situation, but it doesn't really fit here, you always feel free to drop by on my stream. I stream on Twitch every day. Except for tomorrow, I guess. But this will be up then, whatever. One stream on the 27th, probably. There you go. Maybe late. And, but yeah, twitch.tv/Scardor. Feel free to drop by, and we do our best with the chat, and I do my best to answer any and all questions that you might have about your situation, or, might be Maple related, might be anything related. So feel free to drop by and just post. Worst thing you can do is say no. Or, I won't be shaming you for anything, We'll be fine. So yeah, hopefully that was it was good for you. It was good for me. Feel free to check out any other videos, or let me know what you would like to see. If there's any big question or big topic that you have questions on, always feel free to reach out, and I'll be more than happy to look at if it's something I can contribute to in terms of making content for. So thanks for watching the video, and see you on the next one.